What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. Back after two unintentional, well, one of them was intentional last week, not so intentionally off weeks. I am your derelict host, Brad, joined by my much more responsible co-host, Micah.
Okay.
And Gary.
I'm responsible.
Well, no, like I have to own it, because 2 weeks ago I was out of town for work, and then last week I made the foolish decision to get both my COVID booster and flu shot at the same time, and I was fine. I was good enough. I was good enough on Monday to record Look Forward, and then as the week progressed, I got dramatically worse. As that went on.
I got both mine done last month, and I was fine.
Well, lucky you. I was not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I basically had like a miniature version of COVID and then a miniature version of the flu back to back. It was really neat.
I had injection site pain because they were like, we're going to stick you one on each arm. And I was like, I don't like the sound of that, but okay. So I had severe injection site pain on the night after, and I just could not get comfortable. But
Why would they do both? Well, I get it, because you don't want both arms to, like, they should have did it on, like, the same arm.
yeah, they should have done it both on one arm so that I could have at least slept on my side. But no, it's fine. What we're saying is you should go get your boosters, you filthy fucking animal.
Jay asked me why I did both, and if you didn't listen to Look Forward, I said it's because I was more willing to take the risk of a mild illness to the inconvenience of having to go back to the doctor's office to get the other one that I didn't get the first time around.
I don't know why anyone would not get both at the same time. Like,
it's just more convenient. I mean, not from a illness standpoint, but you know,
for me.
but you know, that's how that goes. But a 3-week break was interesting because we got to kind of sit back, right, and truly analyze the news for what matters, right? Like, a lot of things happened in the last several weeks. We only had 2 news stories today because we only picked out the 2 stories that we thought were the most relevant. Everything else was just like farts passing in the wind, blowing by us. But what we do have to talk about is really what the show is ultimately about. And that, dear listeners, is video games and playing video games. We have a lot of games to talk about on the show later today, but we'll get the filthy, stinky news out of the way first. And let's start with truly
is some filthy news.
Yeah, let's truly what truly had the what's the word I'm looking for, Micah? I'm looking for a word that's like an all-encompassing like you know, not zeitgeist, because zeitgeist is like a positive connotation word.
It had the pathos of the industry for several days here.
Yeah.
What a time! What a time to be a
Captivated
fan
the
of Bayonetta.
It's captivating. So I guess the best way to talk about this is to kind of just walk through the timeline of events. So 2 Sundays ago, Helena Taylor, a British voice actress, went on Twitter and basically called out Platinum Games. Helena Taylor, for those of you who don't know, was the voice of Bayonetta in the first 2 games, but it was announced several months ago that she would not be reprising the role in Game 3. Platinum at the time cited scheduling conflicts, saying that she was too busy and couldn't fit it in to reprise the role. And she said that is bullshit, that Platinum Games basically lowballed her an offer. She said they only offer her $4,000 to reprise the role. She said the entire
game is how this was framed.
Yes, for the entire game,
which is important. We'll get back to that.
It turns out it's very important. She said that she asked for a decent, dignified living wage. Those were her words. She said what Platinum did was illegal, but it was immoral, and she basically called on fans of the game to boycott the game in solidarity, and said donate the money that you would have spent on Bayonetta 3 to charity instead, which I have to admit was a bit presumptuous to be like, hey, like, get my back, fans of this game, and boycott it a week before it comes out because,
right,
you know, because I'm mad that I didn't get a good offer.
Hindsight being 2020, that was red flag number 1.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, she posted these, I think it was 4 videos in total to
Yes.
her Twitter page. Again, very emotional, speaking directly to fans. And this, she's voiced Bayonetta since day one. She also voiced Bayonetta in Smash and whatnot. Like, she's been the voice of Bayonetta up to Bayo 3. And, obviously people like the game for fun gameplay, but it's also Bayonetta as a character is very captivating. And Helena Taylor's performance is a large reason as to why people like that character. So at least from what I saw, people were largely immediately on her side because it was like, one, what the fuck? Like, we were told that, this was a scheduling conflict, and now you're telling us that, Platinum, like, wouldn't pay her any money. And I mean, the issue of voice actors and voice talent at large not being paid enough for the work that they do is another issue entirely that I will save for later.
Well, I think it's best to cover that now, because I think the one positive thing that came out of this initial salvo was that the conversation really didn't linger on Taylor specifically. It really did shift. Yeah, it really did shift to like, wow, like voice actors are really not compensated well in the industry, especially if this is like the going rate that they're going for. There was a famous case of the guy that voiced Nico in GTA 4, like publicly complained a couple of years back about the fact that he's like, yeah, I got paid really well for the game. I think he made like $100,000.
He made like 6 figures for that.
Yeah.
For that performance.
But his point was, since he didn't make what the fuck is the word? Residuals, yes, because there are no residuals baked in the contract. Like GTA 4 made, as Micah would say, goo gobs of money, and all of this that the voice actor saw was the initial paycheck for the job done, and that was it. Even though like the thing went on, and I guess the comparison is that like top Hollywood actors get points. So like if the movie does well, they make more money above and beyond their base salary. I guess and I'm super interested, Micah, to get a lot of your takes on this, because I thought of you immediately as we were going through kind of this whole shebang, because I know that you have an affinity for voice actors more than most folks do. Like Tom Cruise being in your movie is going to get people to go see the movie that that might not have normally seen it. You know what I mean? Like it drives people to the movie theater. I still, even after doing the research for the story, I still couldn't tell you off the top of my head the name of the voice actor for the guy in Grand Theft Auto 4. Like, I couldn't tell you. I didn't know Helena Taylor's name before this story popped off. And yes, her performance of Bayonetta is a forming of the character. But I don't think that people were planning on getting Bayonetta 3 or skipping Bayonetta 3 because they're like, well, Jennifer Hale's no Helena Taylor, so I don't know if this is
it's at this point there's like you have a sort of a handful of voice actors that are sort of more known entities. Matt Mercer pops immediately to mind, and that's largely because of his work on Critical Role.
Right, but like
made him more of a face and less of a voice.
Yeah, Nolan North, Troy Baker, Jennifer Hale, like these are all people who are
Bailey.
Yeah, Laura Bailey,
like
household names, you would argue, in as far as like video game fans are concerned.
Look, someone told me to watch all 4 of the videos, and the first 3, I'm like, you know what? I understand what you're going through, and this is real, like, messed up. And then the 4th video, she starts quoting scripture. And like, no offense to my co-hosts, but when white people start quoting scripture,
dude, I don't fucking like when white people quote scripture.
I'm about to say, am I supposed to be offended as a white person? Because I'm also an atheist, and I feel like atheist is a bigger part of my personality than white guy at this point. So
like when white people start quoting scripture, nothing good comes of it, and that immediately sent up like my red flares, right? Like that, my spidey sense started tingling a bit, right?
Well, here's the fun thing about Helena Taylor is she sucks as a person. Like
that's the best part too, is that like again,
removed, like let's remove her from this scenario and take a look at what she's done otherwise. And what has she done otherwise is support Blue Lives Matter and be a transphobe and be a fucking
Oh,
bigot
see,
and like
I
retweet a
didn't
lot
know
of
all
this
that.
shit.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know all.
she
I didn't know all that.
sucks.
Now look, that's not to say that those people don't deserve to work, right? Like I'm
Right.
not
And like
saying
that's
that.
the thing is I saw a lot of people saying like, hey, you know, don't let the fact that Helena Taylor's a bigot and a transphobe detract from the fact that voice actors should still be making more money. Like both of
Yeah,
these
I
things
Can both be
exist
true.
simultaneously.
yeah, I look, I do think that that vocal performances mean a lot, especially to narrative driven games. Um, uh, you know, where would Naughty Dog be if it weren't for phenomenal vocal performances from all of their actors, right?
Mhm.
Where would Kojima be without phenomenal performances from his actors? And
Right.
so, yes, I think we all can agree that voice actors deserve to be paid well. Um, this particular situation is, I mean, sticky wicket is an understatement, right? Like,
She's out here like, you know, Bayonetta like grosses in the billions of dollars. I'm like, I'm gonna need to see your
Okay,
research.
so let's get back to this. Let's get back to this timeline real quick, right?
Mhm.
Because she comes out with these videos. She says Platinum only offered me $4,000 to do the entire game. And then we have fucking Hideki Kamiya getting on Twitter and acting like an immature buffoon about the whole thing.
Here's
Like,
how so Hideki Kamiya, notoriously a serial blocker. Like apparently if you tweeted him in English, you
he
get like
just
an
blocks
automatic
you.
block.
Yeah.
He blocked so many people in the wake of this
That
that
Twitter thought his account had been hacked.
yeah, well no, they thought it was a bot account.
Oh.
Like they temporarily suspended his account because they're like, this isn't a real person. Like there's too
Yeah.
many blocks happening in too short a period of time.
Yeah.
So clearly this is a bot and not an actual account.
So Hideki Kamiya has his account suspended for blocking too many people all at once because everyone's tweeting at him because he's the face of Platinum Games as a company. And then he had also tweeted, and I quote, sad and deplorable about the attitude of untruth. That's all I can tell now. And look, I know Hideki Kamiya has a vibe about him in terms of his how he talks to the press and how he talks to fans and whatnot. But I think we can agree that the way that he chose to handle this with his public persona was childish.
Well, it
Like
didn't
what
it
he
didn't help
should have done.
didn't help their cause. I don't
No,
think.
it didn't help. It didn't make Platinum look any better at all in this situation. What he should have done was shut the fuck up and not say anything. He should have logged off and not responded to the situation at all and let Platinum's PR people handle this shit. But instead, he made himself and Platinum Games at large, by extension, look like a bunch of assholes.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he got
And
baited,
then,
man. He got baited into it.
Well, now, and the other thing,
as a side note to this, Jennifer Hale,
well, and yeah, that's where I was
voice of
getting to. That's where I was getting. So.
faced an enormous amount of backlash for having signed up to do a job.
For having the gall to accept
Right.
employment. How
Right.
dare she? How dare she?
We don't like Commander Shepard anymore, guys. We don't like Commander Shepard anymore. Get out of here. Come on, get out of here.
Hale, who like put out her own statement, who basically just said, you know, I support every actor's right to be paid well. I have advocated consistently for this. Anyone who knows me knows that I have respect for my peers. I am under an NDA. I am not at liberty to speak anymore about this, but I feel like my reputation speaks for itself. So please keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that this game has been created by an entire team of hardworking, dedicated people. And I hope that everyone will keep an open mind. I hope everyone involved in this resolves their differences in an amicable and respectful way. Jennifer Hale basically being like, I am above this.
Also, I'm Jennifer. Like that's the best. That was the best part, and that was like Micah said when she started quoting scripture. Like that was the red flag to him. The red flag to me was she's like, oh, they fucking lowballed me, and I'm like, but wait a second, they hired Jennifer Hale,
who is ostensibly a much bigger name.
Yeah,
they hired the goat when it comes to
right.
acting in this thing, man. Like they hired the Meryl Streep of voice actors, yo.
Yeah,
like
she's literally been doing this since the 80s. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
are
like
you talking about?
if she's alleging that like they were cheaping out on the voice acting, the fact that they then hired probably the most expensive female voice actor in the gaming industry kind of runs counter to that narrative, because I would imagine that her rate slightly higher than the alleged $4,000 that Taylor was doing. So this was the narrative for a couple days. Like this went out there in the ether, and then Jason Schreier entered the chat.
Here he comes.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
So Jason Schreier comes online and says that he has two sources that dispute Taylor's claims. He said that there's two people that are, quote, familiar with but unauthorized to discuss private contract negotiations. He said, and it wasn't clear if those were directly from Platinum Games themselves. You can probably presume that they might be. And the claim from them was that they sought to hire Taylor for 5 4-hour sessions, paying $3,000 to $4,000 per session.
Right.
Not in total.
Math here.
Yeah.
If he's offered $4,000 for minimum 5 sessions, that means that she's making at least $20,000.
Correct.
For probably a month's worth of work.
And not only that, but her counteroffer, she was like, no, that's not good enough. Her counteroffer reportedly was to get a 6-figure salary and rasiduals.
Yo, come on.
On top of that shit as well.
It's Bayonetta,
which is like,
It's
yeah,
Bayonetta.
right. So that's what I said. But here's the thing: is Helena Taylor, who has come out and since admitted that.
Hold there real quick.
Okay,
Yeah. So
right.
before we get there, so her response to and by the way, VGC, which is another website, not Video Game Confab for those of you true OGs.
Brad.
That's a real deep cut for long time
yeah.
TNP listeners. They also corroborated the story independently. So like they didn't follow up with Jason Schreier's sources. They're like, no, we have our own sources. They said exactly the same thing. So basically, sure seems like that now the ball is in Taylor's court to be like, hey, you might need to show your work a little bit to be like, where's this shit come from? So she responded to this report by saying it was, quote, categorically untrue, an absolute lie, and a complete joke. So that was her. She went with she was called out there like, hey, like people are saying that you're full of shit, and she chose indignance.
Yeah, she's basically doubled down, and then she said, well, I want to put this in the rearview mirror. I want to leave this whole franchise behind. I'm going to let my video stand, and I spoke the truth. Fast forward
to today.
Today, we're here today.
Yeah.
On October 24th, 2K22, and yep, she admitted that she pulled this $4,000 figure out of her ass.
Here's the best part. She begins this statement with saying, as I posted on part 3 of my video thread, like I clearly said that their first offer was too low, which was $10,000. And then when I said no, they increased it by 5 and it's $15,000.
And then they offered her a cameo role.
Well, months later.
4,
So they're they said, hey, here's 15. She was like, no. They're like, all right, it's not going to work. No big deal. We'll recast the role. And then weeks later, they said, hey, like we'd like to bring you in for 1 day to record some dialogue for the game as like a cameo appearance, and we'll pay you $4,000 for that. Yeah. And I guess that's where the $4,000 number came from.
So she said, I heard nothing from them for 11 months. They then offered me a flat fee to voice some lines for $4,000. And then she says any other lies such as $4,000 for 5 sessions are total fabrications. And I'm like, bitch, you're the one who said that they only offered you $4,000 for the entire game. obviously you would be doing the entire game as Bayonetta in more than a single session. Like,
Yeah.
voice actors typically only work 4 to 6 hours at most due to the amount of strain that goes into their voice. So she's walking everything back and stumbling over herself big time in the process.
Well, and
This reminds me of like when artists kind of comic artists and creatives get pissed when like their creations end up in these MCU movies that are making like bajillions of dollars and they're not seeing any of it. And I understand the sour grapes, but like you kind of sign your performance over to the studio. And should they offer you something? Should they offer you more? Should they compensate you in some way? Yeah, but they're not necessarily obligated to.
Mhm.
And look, these companies, especially Japanese companies, like they're not. Well, Johnny sent me a message. He said, "You better believe if there was an AI robot that could voice Bayonetta and make it sound like Bayonetta, they would do it."
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they, like it's all about saving money and stuff, right? Like, and even voice actors who are household names to the role, like David Hayter, still had to audition to be Solid Snake in all of the Metal Gears,
Right.
and like you hear that and it's like, wait, what? Like I can't imagine hearing another person's voice involving that character, right?
Mhm.
Like,
And yet we did.
And well, you did. I didn't. I couldn't play that game.
I also didn't play that game, but I've seen cutscenes and stuff like that to see it. So
I mean,
look,
here's the other thing. Go ahead, Micah.
I understand the mentality, and I do think that vocal performances are just as important as an important part of the game and developing a character, especially if your character is like a real character and not just like some cipher. You know what I mean? But I also understand that, like, this is a business. And the dude that played Nico Bellic, he got paid handsomely. Yeah, it sucks that you're not like getting points on it, but this is the role that you signed up for. I hope that you can get paid better next time. But what Helena Taylor is doing is fucking lying.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make anybody look good. Stop fucking lying.
Speaking of lying, may I point to her Twitter thread from the last 24 hours where she said, as I posted on part 3 of my video thread, I explained that their first offer was too low. That offer was $10,000 total. And then she says, remember, this is a $450 million franchise, not counting merchandise.
You're not entitled to any of that.
Where the fuck did that figure come from?
Even if
it's
that's
not a
$450
million franchise.
So
even if it is real, you're not entitled to any of it.
Here's where people think that it came from. So basically, if you go to VG charts and you look at all the different versions of Bayonetta that have been released, and I'm not just talking about original releases, I'm talking about re-releases, I'm talking about the Bayonetta and Vanquish like anniversary bundle that came out. Like, if you look at all that shit.
And then you multiply that by 60.
And you add the sales, and then you multiply that by 60, it adds up to like 450 million.
Cool, so, that is not how video games
not at all how this works.
That's not how any of this works. That is not the value of the franchise.
No. Nor is it even accurate to how much revenue the franchise has generated, because there ain't no fucking way that of the, what is it, like 5 million copies of or 6 million copies of Bayonetta games sold lifetime that people paid $60 for all of them.
For each of them, right.
Right.
That's not how this works.
No, that's not how any of this works.
You can get the first 2 for 40. What are you doing?
So and as usual, like a person comes out and makes an excellent point, but then completely shits on it by being a complete dickbag and lying about it, which is now going to undermine other voice actors in the industry. It's going to undermine her because now like companies are probably going to look at her a little bit more warily before they hire her. Like, oh, I don't,
Right,
you know,
it's like
is she going to put all our shit out there? You know what I
well,
mean?
like she fucking blew up her own damn career here because she went from being the voice of Bayonetta to being known as someone who lied in an attempt to garner sympathy for reasons I still don't understand, right? Like why? Like why would someone go in public on their Twitter account and like what was the end game here? I'm
She was probably
desperate to
just
know what
pissed,
the
yo.
end game was
She was
here.
probably just pissed. She was probably just pissed.
Yeah,
And,
she's seen all this hype around this game being built up because it's getting ready to come out, and she's probably been fucking seething like the meme of the fucking woman like staring out the window with the scowl on her face and like getting pissed off. Like I can't believe that everyone's so she had to go piss in people's fucking Cheerios basically to be like,
Yeah.
don't enjoy this actually, because it hurt me personally, and that's
Right.
that's where we're coming from here. And it sucks. It sucks for actual voice actors who deserve better compensation because now you can't like point to this and be like, hey, look at this example. Like, no, she fucking lied her ass off.
No.
And
I mean,
if anything, like you said, she set her entire industry back because now companies, and like this ain't me caping for big companies, right? Like I said, like these companies are they're really gonna lowball actors now, unless you are a superstar, right?
Mhm.
They're really gonna lowball actors.
I don't even know
And,
that it's them really going to lowball them because most voice actors are part of the SAG-AFTRA union, and so like there's a minimum union rate that they do have to be paid.
Well,
But
they're gonna
it's
start there.
well, I feel like they probably already started there, so I don't know that things are going to change that much in that regard. It's just the idea of she made voice actors at large kind of look bad here. Um, and Jason Schreier made a really good point about all this as far as seeing the initial reaction to her series of videos on her Twitter and the sort of fervor that caused. And then over the last week, there's been all of this more information and whatnot, and less fervor from people, being like, it seems like people were immediately ready to be angry on behalf of Helena Taylor at Platinum, but once the full truth came out and the entire story and all the facts are laid out, it seems like there are a lot of people who are less inclined to walk back their initial reaction to Helena Taylor, which speaks.
I don't need them to I don't need anyone out here like throw themselves as Micah said caping for a corporation like
Right. I mean, I do think though it speaks to the power of an emotionally driven video from a public figure. But yeah, ultimately there are a lot of things that I think we learned from this that are all simultaneously true, even if they seem contradictory. Like Helena Taylor lied about the situation and is also a bigot. Two, Hideki Kamiya is a fucking dipshit of an individual who handled the situation extremely poorly in public, even for him. And three, voice actors really need to be paid more across the board. All of these things are true.
Yeah, no arguments. No notes.
Is this the first? Is this one of the? When was the last instance of a white woman weaponizing her tears and the shit backfired?
You're saying the first ever instance of a white woman receiving comeuppance?
Yeah, like when was the last? What I think the last one was. I
don't know. Did
woman
Liz
was
Truss
choking that dog?
Did Liz Truss cry at any point over the past 8 weeks?
Oh my goodness gracious! Yeah, man. Just I think we've exhausted it.
Yeah.
I think we've exhausted it.
I was exhausted after living through all that for the last week. It was quite the shitstorm. Speaking of shitstorms, G4, the new G4, the resurrected G4. Did not even make it 1 year. And there's a major reason why. There's a major reason why. And it's because they ran the fucker like a TV network instead of what we said on this show. We called this when they brought it back. They're like, oh, look, if they're bringing it back and they're going to run it, through Twitch, and they're going to run it through YouTube, and they're going to generate revenue as content creators, then yes, that can definitely work in 2022. And then fucking Universal was like, you know what? Like, let's run this like a traditional TV network. Let's have 200 employees. Let's have some talent on the show that had a daily rate of like $20,000 to $25,000 reportedly for some of the folks that worked there that were on air talent, and then be shocked like get Pikachu faced when the fucking ad revenue's not coming in like we thought it would, because it's fucking 2022. Why do you think that this channel that failed on cable back when cable was more popular is going to all of a sudden like be better now?
It failed before all of this like shit was so ubiquitous. Like no one is. I don't even know what channel it was on.
It had its own channel. I have a G4 channel on YouTube TV that's still there.
Yeah, I didn't know what channel was. I didn't realize it was a fucking channel.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like well, I knew it was a channel. I didn't know where it was in my channel lineup, because it's like
but also you're not consuming that content like that anymore. You're just not.
Right.
Like, I certainly don't. Like, all the G4 shit that I watched, none of it was on the G4 TV network. All of it was on YouTube or Twitch.
Was it simulcast?
No.
Was it like it wasn't even simulcast?
No, they aired it like
delayed?
traditional. They aired it like a traditional like it's not like they had live TV. Like if they did anything live, that was through streaming, and then they would just air, the recorded content on the TV channel, and
like reruns of their YouTube stuff.
Basically, yeah.
Yo, come on, man.
And that's the part that missed me, is that like, how did you and like their streaming numbers were good. Like their traffic on Twitch and YouTube was fine. Like the amount of views they had for their stuff was perfectly good, perfectly sustainable. Not at a company of 200 people, and not when you're paying. And again, it's not reported as to who where it was getting like a $25,000 daily rate, but I would imagine that like your Austin Creeds probably were in that in that range, and people of that sorts. But like when you're paying people that type of money, and you're gonna be surprised when you can't fucking turn a profit, when you can't be lucrative and sustainable, like what the fuck? Like you set yourself up for failure from the get go. I'm surprised it lasted almost a year. Surprised you weren't dead in the water in 6 months.
I want to know who was asking for $25,000.
Oh no, not asking for, being given. Like I'm pretty sure they were just like writing it into the contract, be like, oh yeah, like this is your rate, cool, no problem, we got you. It's not like they were there 5 days a week, but I mean, still, like paying that much money for someone to come in and do a 4-hour spot, it's a lot of fucking cash.
So yeah, you're right. This could have worked if they just, like, I watched some of the X-Play stuff, and that's really about it. I tried watching some of the the other stuff that the other hosts do, and I'm like, this is out of my age bracket, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm too old for all this stuff. But the X-Play stuff I did find interesting, especially like the long form discussions on video games, or 20-minute reviews that took their time. I enjoyed stuff like that. If you just kept it at content creation and use the internet as your platform, that'd have been fine.
Yeah,
you'd have been great. But a whole TV network, and I have to imagine that, I mean, they got to be playing like old Ninja Warrior or shit like that, right? Because you're not gonna. They weren't generating enough content to rerun.
You know the stuff that built their content package alongside of like the G4 original stuff. They were basically running YouTube creators. Like they had like Scott the Woz, shit on there. So they have like a half an hour of Scott the Woz videos that people are already watching on YouTube, and they'd have like
Right.
like Viva La Dirt League stuff on there that people are already watching on YouTube, and like they're like, surely people tuned into cable for this. I'm just like, what? That's not how this works. Like what is this fucking like old man mentality that you have here that you're just like, we're committed to the typical cable broadcast style? Like, what the fuck?
Especially when like everything is like, let's cut the cord. Everybody is like, let's cut the cord. Let's cut the cord. Only old people like me are still have, traditional cable, right? And well, you're old.
I guess so. I just want to watch live sports, man. Like,
right. And
yeah.
but when that is the mentality, especially with like this generation, especially because they're supposed to be tech people. They're supposed to be people in the industry. This thing, you're right. I am shocked that it lasted 11 months and didn't make it, made it past 6. Also, can we just put this to bed right now? That woman saying what she said did not kill this.
Not even a little bit. It made the people mad that were already being mad on the internet at G4. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
like it's not. It didn't change. It didn't change anything. And of course, because every company in the video game industry sucks ass tremendously nowadays, they release this memo on a Sunday night. Wario64 gets a hold of it and tweets it out. And this is how like the majority of people that worked at G4 found out that the network was dead. It's through a Wario64 tweet of this memo that went out on a Sunday night.
Amazing.
To all their associates. Bravo, fucking Comcast, you pieces of shit. So,
what else
good
is new?
Lord.
Have a fucking meeting on a Friday, for Christ's sake. Like, you didn't make this decision on Sunday afternoon, and we're like, we gotta get a press release out there. Like, you probably fucking knew about it for weeks. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's fucked up, man. You don't fire somebody on a Sunday, dude. Like, it's just, yeah. So look, I hope everybody that's decent over there gets work. I never like to see people lose their jobs. Yeah, I just I don't know, man. I don't know. It was nice seeing Adam Sessler back.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's like that's all I ever thought about it. It's just like, man, it's nice to see Sessler doing something again.
Yeah, everybody else, I didn't really care for. I like that one black dude. That one black dude was the husky black dude. He was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then the black dude with the fro, and the big white dude. Like those three, when they worked together, they were really good. But everyone else, go find another job. Yep. Land on your feet. Get out of here. So, rest in peace, G4, for good this time.
Please,
I don't think it's getting zombified.
We have
anymore.
Society has moved past the need for G4 a long time before they even ever brought it back.
True. Yeah.
We have Twitch and YouTube now, bitch. We don't need this shit anymore.
I couldn't believe it when they said they were bringing G4 back, and I couldn't believe how people were excited for it.
But again, there is a place for it. It just isn't on a cable network.
Yeah, it's just like every other. Like, it could just be another version of what we all have, right? Like that would be like, IGN having a cable network,
right?
Like, it doesn't. I don't know. Big companies, they're stupid, man. They're stupid.
And again, to underscore the point, they're like, oh, well, surely like this is the only way you could have a truly professional upscale thing. Kind of funny, just rolled out their new studio 2 weeks ago. It looks as good, if not better, than anything that fucking G4 is going on, and that company has like 8 people in it.
Right?
Yeah, man.
So
yeah, I don't know. Stop letting rich people tell you how to get, like, I don't understand how like CEOs and shit, like, they just are rich. Like, they just got a bunch of bad ideas.
Yeah, you know how they're rich, because they don't spend money. That's how. Like, no one ever made money by spending it. They get their money and then they hang on to it, pass it on to their kids.
Oh shit. All right. Discord. Go to densepixels.com/fans. Join us. Talk about a lot of cool stuff in there. I've been seeing the F1 channel getting a lot of play recently. I've been seeing the Premier League channel get a lot of play recently. And any gaming news or opinions that you want to have, you can throw them up there at densepixels.com/fans. Go to youtube.com/densepixels, not youtube.com/G4, because that shit is probably gone by now. Go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe. Click the bell notification icon and click the thumbs up icon. You can see me in my new camera position, and you can see Brad and his dim lighting, and you can see Carrie and her spotlighting on her face.
Looking washed out as ever.
I'm about to say, if I crank the lights up more, you'll just see the light reflected off my forehead, which is not ideal.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
Subscribe to all of the TMP Studios podcasts wherever you get your podcasts, including Black on Black Cinema, the Nerdpocalypse, Coming Distractions, and the weekly preview episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast. And go to densepixels.com/premium. For $5 a month or $50 for the full year, you get access to our backlog of premium content, including the airing of Grievances, No Time to Bleed, The Men with the Golden Tongues, Upstage Conversation, and the full episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast that is new every single week.
And live tomorrow. We're going to be,
I was about to say,
live covering the Fetterman Oz debate in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you could be covering fucking Tyson Fury versus Nick Riviera.
should be very exciting. Shout out to Philadelphia for contributing to our season of depression in Major League Baseball as we have to live with the worst World Series. So.
Who is it? Philly and who?
Phil and the Astros.
Philly Astros. Man, bitch, I fucking guess I'll root for the Phillies. I hate
No, you
the
won't.
Phillies.
You fucking hate the Phillies.
Yeah, but I think I hate the Astros
And you
more.
hate Bryce Harper. You don't want to see Bryce Harper win. That would justify his leaving, even that you guys won after he left. So
Yeah, we sure did.
yeah,
I don't know, guys. I don't know.
I'm watching hockey. I don't give a shit who wins.
that's true.
I might have to root for the cheaters because Philadelphia is in the fucking Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
That's how much I don't give a fuck about baseball.
Yeah. Caps are up 6-3 right now.
They are up
so.
6-3. It is.
They are
browbeaten.
Obliterating
Devils.
New Jersey.
Yeah. The rest of the show is going to be us talking about video games because I've been playing a lot of video games. Carrie has revisited an old favorite for some reason. But let's start with what is currently taking the games playing folks by storm out there. That's a little mobile game that just came out a couple weeks ago called Marvel Snap. You know what you're thinking, Brad? You're playing a Marvel game? I am playing a Marvel game because it's actually a card game that's more like a board game, and so that immediately has me interested. So Marvel Snap, and actually one of the other games I'm going to talk about is also a lane-based card game, which you don't often see too much anymore. There's a game called Artifact that Valve released that was based on Dota. That was the last kind of prominent one in the video games industry. But Marvel Snap is a card game. It's being made by the former director of Hearthstone. And as soon as I booted it up and started playing it and playing a match, I'm like, oh yes, you can absolutely see the Hearthstone coming through in this game. But here's why Marvel Snap is cool. So Marvel Snap is a 1v1 card game that only lasts for 6 turns. And each turn, you start the first turn with 1 energy to play cards, and the next turn you get 2 and 3 and so on. And you have a hand of cards that comes from your deck of only 12 cards. And the deck, not only do you have only 12 cards in the deck, but they all have to be unique. So you have to pick 12 different cards. And so each turn, you're going to use your energy to play your cards into one of 3 locations that are on the board, and each card has a cost, but it also has a power level, and they contribute their power to that location. And when the game ends, whichever player has the most power at each location wins that location, and your goal is to win 2 out of 3 at least, or all 3 if possible by the time the game ends. Now, of course, this being a card game, most of the cards have unique abilities associated with them, and that's kind of where the deck building aspect comes in, because you want to build a deck that synergizes well with each of the abilities and has kind of a mix of costs in there, so that you can make sure that you're playing stuff you draw. It doesn't do you any good to have a deck full of 5 and 6 cost cards, because you're not going to be able to play those till the end of the game, and you're only going to get to play 1 each essentially as you go through. Like some of the cards have effects that do something cool when they get flipped over, because that's the other thing too. Your opponent and you play cards simultaneously, and then they get revealed at the same time, so you don't know what your opponent is going to play each round until you've also played your cards. So like there's some cards that have effects when they get revealed. There's some cards that get effects that are ongoing as long as they're in the field of play. There's some cards that just have like different quirky things they can do. The thing that's cool about this is that if you're a Marvel fan, most of the card effects make sense. Like they fit well to the characters. So like Nightcrawler, for example, can move from one location to the other once he's already been played, which cards normally can't do. The Punisher gets extra power the more cards your opponent has on their side of the location that he is sitting at, essentially. And so that's very thematic. Like when you play Blade is a 3 power card, and he only costs 1, which is very cheap for a card that costs 3 power, but he also destroys a card that's in your hand. So he slices a card that's in your hand, and you can't play that card for the rest of the game. But there are cards that get powerful when they get destroyed. So you can build a deck that kind of synergizes of, having Blade, and it's going to destroy hopefully this Apocalypse card. And when Apocalypse gets destroyed, he actually comes back, but he has 6 more power than he did before. So then when you play him later in the game, he's even more powerful than he was previously. So adding to this is the fact that each of the locations also has a special ability that's randomized, because there's a slew of locations that you can possibly get in a certain game that will also affect how the cards play. Like some of them give bonuses to cards, some of them make cards cost more. There's some really wacky shit in there as well. The thing that I like the most about this game, though, is it has this poker kind of mechanic in the game where you're playing for Cosmic Cube, essentially. And that's how you rank up and move through the different levels. And the default, if you go through the whole game, is you'll get 2 Cosmic Cubes. And if you lose, you'll lose 2 Cosmic Cubes. And each rank has 10, essentially. So when you get 10 Cosmic Cubes, you rank up. And if you lose them, then you can rank down as well. Each player, once during the game, can snap the Cosmic Cube. And basically, that's like them saying, I think I'm going to win this game, and so I'm going to double what the Cosmic Cube payout at the end of the game. And so the other player can either, accept that, or they can cut their losses and retreat. So you can scare them off if they're my hand is kind of shit if my opponent thinks he's actually going to win. I'll actually back out, because obviously if you retreat before the Cosmic Cube grows in power, your losses are lower. So you're kind of mitigating what you would lose if you don't think you're going to win. And that's really cool, because if you're also playing from a losing position, you could try to bluff your opponent into leaving the game thinking that you have some cool trick up your sleeve, when in fact you have a bunch of shit that you're trying to fade with him on. It's a lot of fun. It's been really fun playing this game. I put an embarrassing amount of time into it over the last several days, I gotta say.
I am playing Marvel Snap, and I know what you're saying. You're playing a card game, but no, it's a Marvel game that's got cards in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it. And yeah, I downloaded it today, and it's gonna be a bit of a problem.
So
Amazing.
It's fun.
Yeah,
It's fun. I really enjoy it. Some of my matches have been tense. I don't know. My deck doesn't feel good, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't feel like a really good deck. Right?
Well, you have to unlock more cards so that you can have more options, so that you can build different. Like I have 3 different decks, and they're all kind of themed around different mechanics. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I only have 2 decks. A lot of the cards, are shared in the deck. So I don't have a lot of cards, but I have had some very fun matches that I think, oh well, I'm probably gonna lose this, and then on
Mhm.
turn 6, like I get like they put their card in the wrong location, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, holy shit, bro! Like I fucking got it right. Like you put like someone puts an Iron Man in the wrong location, and it doubles the wrong one. Like they're focused on this, but I'm focused on trying to like it's a lot of it's skill based, and it's just the right amount of luck for it to
Mhm.
not feel uh um like you're screwed over,
Mhm.
right? So yeah, it's fun, man. I haven't put a lot of time into it. I haven't experienced, the whole like wagering or
Mhm.
anything like that. I'm still trying to just like build up cards, or get more cards and stuff like that. I'm only like rank 6 or
Mhm.
7. Um,
Yeah, I'm at
but yeah, it's
34. I'm
fun.
I'm ranked 34 right now. So,
Gee.
and that's low because like it goes all the way up to 100 to get to like to get to ultimate. Um, being as is a free to play card game, we should talk about the monetization and the grind. So credits are what you use to upgrade your cards, and the important thing to note here is when you upgrade your card, you're not making the card better. You're just upgrading the visuals. Like it's just an upgrade for you. And what that also does is it adds points to your collection rank, and your collection rank is how you unlock new cards essentially. So like the collection rank is this never ending meter that every 3 levels like you get a new card, and then you get some currency to upgrade your cards, and then you get more credits, and that's kind of the repeating pattern as you go up the collection rank thing. The higher you rank your cards up, the more collection ranks you gain, if that makes sense. Like upgrading a common card to uncommon gets you 1 rank, but if you upgrade to like a legendary, you get 6 ranks. So like the higher you grow your cards, the better off you'll be. So it's not really pay to win. And you can buy, so they have gold in the game as well. So there's 2 things that gold can be spent on. You can either spend gold to buy credits. Rather smartly, they limit you to how many times you can do that per day. So like per day, you can spend a maximum of I think like 500 gold to buy credits, and then you're stuck for the next 24 hours. Like you can't unlock anything, which I think is good that they have that in there. And then the other thing that gold lets you buy is variant versions of cards that you already own. So like they have like pixelized versions. They have like these like hand drawn, or not obviously they're all hand drawn, but like they have these like kind of like lo-fi versions of cards. They have like baby versions of some of the cards, but importantly, they're the only cards you'll see of those in the shop are cards that you already have. So like you can't get a new powerful card by paying gold. You can only get another version of something that you already have in your deck, which is also good. They do have a season pass model, which has like missions and shit like that you can do, like daily logins, and then they have seasonal missions as well. What I think is cool is they have a free season pass that you have to complete before you unlock the actual season pass. So like Micah, the season pass that you're in, that's just like the hey, make sure you like this game before you spend any money season pass, and then
Yeah.
once you go through the 20 levels of that, then you get to the actual season pass and this season is the symbiote season. So there's a whole bunch of like Spider-Man themed stuff that you can get. I haven't bought the season pass yet. I'll dip into the post office. And Cam asked, how much money have I spent in Marvel Snap so far? The answer, Cam, believe it or not, is $0. I have not spent a red cent so far in this game. I think I might at least buy the welcome pack, which is $3. It gives you a Captain America card and 700 gold. which is enough to buy one of the variant cards. Even though I'll probably just buy credits with it because I'd rather upgrade the cards that I have rather than get the variants. And then the season pass is $10. I think I'll wait till I'll wait to see what that'll actually get me at the end of the season. Like, you know what I mean? Because like right now I'm ranking up through the season pass, and a lot of the rewards are locked because I don't have the premium season pass. But I can unlock it at any time and get all that stuff retroactively. Yeah. So it might make more sense to kind of wait and see what will I actually get from this before I decide to spend the $10. But it doesn't seem the point is the monetization doesn't appear bad, and the progression also doesn't appear bad as long as you're not the type of person that's going to sit there and play for 4 hours every day. Because then it's slow.
Yeah, it feels like the way I play mobile games. This feels perfect. As far as I can tell, there's no like, well, you ran out of energy, so you can't play until you refill, or you can buy more energy. Like, it feels like you can just play, which is great. The cost of things doesn't appear to be egregious. The welcome pack being $3, like that. I mean, that's got to be like a special, right?
It is. Because, yeah, it is.
Yeah, that seems ridiculously low. But $10 for a season pass. I mean, it feels right. And it's not like in your face, right? There's not a bunch of pop-ups saying, buy this, buy this, buy this. Like, you have to seek it out.
So just to give you the lay of the land. So again, to buy the variant cards, it costs 700 gold, and that's $10, which seems like a lot if you're going to buy the variant cards. I will admit.
Yeah, I don't need a pixel Iron Man that bad. Like, who cares?
Yeah. But what I'm happy about is that it's not like that stuff is just for you. Like, if you want to spend the $10 to get, like you said, like baby Captain America or whatever, like if you see that card and you're like, oh, I gotta have it, that's just for you. It doesn't actually help you in the game, which I think is the more important thing. Like, I'd be upset if it was pay to win. The only way it kind of approaches that is, again, the more money you pay, the more credits you can get, which means you can upgrade your cards faster, but they still kind of gate you as terms of how many credits you can buy on a daily basis, which is also good and also helpful to curb people from overspending, at least on progression in the game. Like, if you want to spend on variants, I guess that's your prerogative. So, but it's fun. I know a few of you in the Discord are playing it right now. That's the only thing that is kind of a bummer, is that you can't match up with friends on purpose. Like, it's literally just when you go in and play, you're just playing against a random opponent. So,
yeah, that kind of sucks. But at the same time, like, I don't need to be losing to you people in the Discord. Like,
yeah,
But
I could see down the road, like, they have like an unranked, mode that you can play where you can match up with friends. So that would be nice. I think we'll see.
I'm surprised that I like this game. I really am. And all it had to do, because I'm a basic bitch, all it had to do was add a mainstream motif to it. Because I guarantee you, if this was, if these were just like elves or some shit, like, I wouldn't go anywhere near it. But
the art is very nice, and I like every time you level up your card, you add like a different visual effect to the card. So like when you first upgrade a card, the card pops like it ignores the frame of the card. So like you'll have visual aspects that'll exist outside the frame. And then the next level up makes it 3D. And then the next level up makes it animated. And then the next level up gives you a shiny nameplate on the bottom. So like it's very it's very lizard brain stuff, but still very cool. Carrie, for some godforsaken reason.
Yeah.
While me and Mike are out here experiencing the best that free-to-play mobile card games has to offer, you are playing a 7-year-old game that's about to get a next-generation update, but you don't care about that because you're playing it on PC.
Yeah. I'm playing Fallout 4 again.
What brought this on?
To be fair, I played through when it came out. in 2015. I played through all the DLCs when those came out. And then I didn't touch it again after 2016. And Fallout as a franchise just celebrated its 25th anniversary. And it just sort of, that news sort of gave me like the itch, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't really want to play Vegas again. I love New Vegas. I still think New Vegas is far and away the best of the modern Fallouts. It's really not even close. But like I've played New Vegas fairly frequently over the last several years. And I've even gone back to 3 a couple of times. And I was between 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about how much of a fucking slog the intro to 3 is. Because you start as a kid in the vault, you got to do all that dumb shit in Vault 101. And I was like, nah, that sucks.
Wait, that's not normal? Like, you don't start every Fallout game in the vault for 2 hours?
2 hours?
Isn't that how long the intro for three was? It's been a long time since I played it.
That's how long the intro to 3. It takes forever to get out of the vault in 3. And I was like, dude, I don't want to fucking do that. I just want the bombs to fall and then for me to like be in the wasteland. So that's what I did. And I picked up 4 again. Because again, it's like I had played 3 more recently than I had played 4. So I go back to 4. And I'm having a fun time. Again, I hadn't played it in 6 years, so there's a lot of stuff that feels very fresh to me. I remember the main plot. I remember which companions I really liked and why I liked them. So I've been trying to spend some time with some slightly different companions. Though I still ended up with McCready because he has the best perk. But that means that I have to listen to fucking Matt Mercer in my ear the entire time I'm playing this game.
Why is 4 considered the lesser of the 3 like the 3 open world ones that have come out?
I think not counting 76. Is just
which is a whole different thing.
Here's the thing. I looked at 76 and I was like, for a split second, I was like, I could reinstall this. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that to myself. I'm not doing that. I think a lot of it is, the story feels very inconsequential. Also, it's really the first one where like your character is sort of voiced, which like I don't hate. As someone who typically leans really hard into like charisma builds, it's like I would rather talk myself out of a conflict than shoot myself out of one. And there's no real benefit to taking a ton of charisma because you can quick save on every charisma check and just keep hitting the same button and loading back in until you get through. You can just brute force your way through every single charisma check in the game, which really defeats the purpose of ever taking any fucking charisma points. So I don't love that as someone who always otherwise leans real hard into charisma. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of no matter what you do at the end of the game, like you have 3 main factions. You have the Institute, the Brotherhood of Steel, and the Railroad. And really, no matter what you do, the state of the Commonwealth is sort of the same afterwards. First time I played through, I went Institute ending. This time I'm going Brotherhood of Steel just to do something a little different. Those guys are assholes.
Fascism, baby.
Those guys are awful. Just the worst. But I'm trying to do something different. It's like I really want to do the Railroad. Part of me, like in my heart of hearts, I want to do the Railroad, but they're just like the leader of the Railroad is such a bitch, and I can't deal with her, man. It's just like the Railroad is otherwise like the perfect faction. They're like, we have to like get these synths out of here. Like the synths that want to leave the Institute should be able to lead their lives. The Institute treats them basically as slave labor. They probably shouldn't have been made in the first place, but these are autonomous beings and we should allow them to, get out of the Commonwealth and get out of the thumb of the Institute. And I'm like, yeah, I am all about that. And then they're also like led by the most the single most unlikable NPC in any of in any Fallout game I think I've ever played. Yeah, God, Desdemona is just the worst. I fucking hate her. So I can't bring myself to support the railroad because I fucking hate Desdemona. But I'm doing the Brotherhood because I really ignored them the first time I played through. So that angle feels very, very fresh and different. So it almost feels like I'm playing a different game. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be another fucking 8 years before we get a new Fallout game.
I don't know. Bethesda's weird now. Like I almost expect Fallout 5 before Elder Scrolls 6 comes out for some reason. I don't truly think that'll happen, but it also like if Todd was like, "Psych, this is happening first," I'm like, "Well, that makes sense, I guess."
Yeah, it truly wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, I don't know. I'm having fun. I don't know what really spurred me to do it besides just being like, "Oh yeah, the 25th anniversary," and yep. I haven't really had that many other games come out recently that I've really wanted to pick up and play. Otherwise, it's like I'm still playing Monster Hunter. I'm still playing FF14, but I think I just needed like a big single player game to chew on for a while. So Fallout 4 it was. But I'm having fun. The game has it is still a Bethesda game, so there are still so many things in this game that inadvertently make me laugh. I had an instance where I was running with McCready, running with my boy Matt Mercer, Lord Masamune, whatever you want to call him. If you wonder why I refer to Matt Mercer as Lord Masamune, it's because back in the early aughts, he was a cosplayer, and he was like the Sephiroth cosplayer in the cosplay scene at large. Like, he was the fucking guy. And his online handle on cosplay.com was Lord Masamune. And I knew him as Lord Masamune before I knew him as Matt Mercer, fucking king of the nerds. And now whenever I see him I've called him Lord Masamune to his face before, and I briefly saw his soul leave his body. But I'm running with his character in the game, McCready, and I'm like, there was a base on like a highway overpass, and I, being a smart person, took the lift down to ground level, and I'm like finishing up this quest, and then I see McCready fall from the top of my screen immediately to the bottom, obviously doing more than enough damage to the character to shatter both of his legs. So I just see McCready fall, and then the voice line, shot my knee out. And I laughed. I laughed so hard I needed to pause the game and take a walk. Like, it was the funniest shit. So yeah, Fallout 4, as a Fallout game is concerned, it's okay. It's still not as, I still don't think it's as good as New Vegas, but it is providing me with, one, I do think Fallout 4 has like the best combat of any of the contemporary Fallouts, but two, typical Bethesda buffoonery, that I think something in my soul really needed right about now. So.
Well, that's a plausible explanation as to why you decided to pick up the milquetoast of Fallout games.
Yeah.
Look, go to densepixels.com/Amazon for all of your Amazon purchases. I'm going to densepixels.com/Amazon right now, and I'm typing in Fallout, and I see that there is one piece of Fallout merchandise that you need to own. It is the 2018 Mission Impossible Fallout. That's the only Fallout that I give a damn about.
Wait, 2018? That movie's been out for 4 years already?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I feel like it just came out. It's still
here's the thing: the last 3 years have been 6 months. So
that's also true. It's also true. I think again, as you would know if you listen to Men of the Golden Tongues, Rogue Nation still a little bit better, but Fallout is a solid like 1A in terms of the Mission Impossible.
Yeah, Fallout's fun. Rogue Nation is better. But like Fallout has like Superman cocking his arms, right? Like
That's true. He does.
Fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, go to densepixels.com/Amazon and get yourself some Fallout stuff. But first, get Mission Impossible Fallout. Although you can probably like find it legally everywhere, because the movie's been out for 4 years. Yeah, I need those other Mission Impossible movies that are up come out.
I haven't seen a single Mission Impossible movie.
That's insane.
They're fun, man. They're fun.
I mean, look, I'm also the person who hasn't seen a single Fast and Furious, so.
See,
I mean, they're dumb fun.
Like I said, if you don't want to watch all of them, which I don't think you have to, the ones I'd recommend you watch are 1, 5, 6, and then if you enjoy yourself after that, and you're in for a laugh, go back and watch Mission Impossible 2.
Okay, so like I also like I genuinely think that there needs to be like a sub podcast here where you ding dongs just tell me an old action movie that I need to watch that I haven't seen before, and then I give my honest first impression.
This is an amazing idea. Like this is like this is like No Time to Bleed, but just like, you know, like making Carrie watch No Time to Bleed movies. Like we can almost go to the No Time to Bleed catalog and just like kind of start working through it.
Yeah.
You ever see Demolition Man?
No.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh.
Like I'm telling you, I'm like.
I feel like you've just sparked the potential for another premium content podcast. Two action movie savants walk baby action movie watcher through the classic action films of the fucking 80s, 90s, and today.
Yeah.
So
holy shit,
it's awesome. Because there isn't a card-based game that I won't play. I finally have been playing Inscryption because I have a PC ostensibly now, so I can play these games. I know it came out on PS4, but I can't imagine playing this game without some kind of a mouse because it's kind of designed for it. I want to say so much about Inscryption because I've put like 20 hours or like 15 hours into the game so far, and so many things have happened, but I can't talk about any of it on the off chance that any of you listening play it, because I would feel so bad if I spoiled any of the things that happen in this game. Because for a fucking roguelike deck builder, it sure has some crazy shit going on inside of Inscryption, and it has some very just like unexpected, wild, meta, crazy stuff. Like this game was all the buzz on a lot of the podcasts that I listened to when it came out last year, but the constant refrain that I heard from it was avoid spoilers if you ever plan on playing this game. And after having played through, I'd have to imagine most of it now at this point, I feel like I'm getting near the end, whatever that means. I agree. Yes, like if you ever think you might want to play Inscryption, don't read anything about it. Here's what I will say: it is a roguelike deck builder. It's got a really weird fucking theme. This is also a lane-driven card game where like you play cards into a lane and like the cards will attack the card that is directly opposite from them. Like if there's another card, or if there is no card, then it attacks your opponent and you're trying to cause 5 more hit points of damage to your opponent than they do to you. Basically, like every time you deal damage to your opponent, there's this scale and it can go back and forth as your opponent deals damage to you. And you're trying to basically get to +5 to win the match as you go along. And it has a very similar style to like Slay the Spire, where you have, you know, this map that you're going on and there's multiple paths that you can choose as you go. And some of the paths give you like card upgrades and let you add new cards to your deck. And let you like buff the cards that you currently have in your deck and things of that nature. The other thing that's cool about this game is that there's an escape room motif that goes along with it as well. Because of the plot of the game, your character is kind of in this cabin, and there's no way to escape. Like, you just have to play this card game against this mysterious person who's holding you captive that you can't see. But you can walk around the cabin freely. Like, you can literally, like, as you're playing the game, you can literally get up from the table and go walk around the cabin. And there's stuff that you can interact with in the cabin. And again, it's very like escape roomy, which is neat. And that ties into the story as well. And that's really all I can say about it. Because again, like this game goes some fucking places. It fucking goes some places that you would never expect it to go, just from the onset. The downside to this, and I will preface this, you have to like the card game that is the driving force, because that it is the driving force behind the game. Like, all the cool shit that happens several hours into you playing this roguelike deck builder. So like, if you don't like the card game itself, you're not going to enjoy yourself, because again, that is the central point of the game. But if you like the card game, or if you don't hate the card game, like if you're like, man, this card game is the worst. Like, if you can just get down with playing the game, it's so fucking wild. like it's really fucking crazy. And I can't say anything more than that. Cause again, if any of you are listening and you're like, man, this does sound kind of interesting, I want to check it out, I don't want to spoil anything for you, because it's fucking crazy. Like, it's a weird game. Apparently it was made by one dude. And he has, well, actually, I don't think he solely developed it, but I think it's like the brainchild of this one designer. And he has some very interesting ideas, and it's just really interesting. Like I said, it's got a lot of meta stuff in the game. I wish I could say more, because there's so much cool shit that happens later on, but I can't, I don't want to spoil anything. But Inscryption's really good, and I highly recommend it, especially if you like card games.
Nice.
In video game format.
All right.
So, the last thing that game-wise that I'll talk about before we head to the post office. So I finally, for some reason, had a wild hair strike me and decide, you know what? I've owned Bowser's Fury for a year and a half and haven't touched it. So why don't I fire up Bowser's Fury and see what that game's all about? Bowser's Fury, of course, was the new like mini Mario game that's add-on content for Super Mario 3D World on the Switch. It's just an extra thing that they put on the disc. And it is a pretty cool little bit of freeware. Basically, the premise is that Bowser's gone crazy because he like has like gotten sucked up by this like ink power thing that makes him like grow gigantic and kaiju sized, and he's terrorizing this like little island area. And Bowser Jr. is really upset about this, so he recruits, you Mario to go help him. And the game takes place inside of this open world area, and the area is comprised. So like, imagine like a Super Mario 3D World stage, and you know how like all the stages each have like this like mechanic hook that exists around them. Well, imagine each of those stages is an island, and you can kind of freely walk around this place. And there's like 10 of these things that all have like a specific mechanic that's associated with them that you can freely travel to. And each of these areas has 5, they're called cat shines in this game, but they're basically the stars/moons equivalent that you've seen in other Mario games, that you're trying to collect. And you do the typical Mario stuff of like platforming and all these things to gather them. The thing that's different about this game is that Bowser is on a timer. And so like every like 5 or 6 minutes, the screen will like turn dark in this thunderstorm, and then Bowser will appear and like blow fire and shit at you and try to attack you. And he's giant size, so you can't do anything to him. The way you get him to go away is to either wait him out and avoid his attacks, or if you get a cat shine while he's on the board, like the lighthouse that's associated with the area will like shine on him and drive him away. Ultimately, you have to get enough cat shines to activate these gigabells that are in each of the areas. And the gigabell lets you turn into a giant kaiju-sized cat Mario so that you can actually battle Bowser one-on-one. And I have to say, these fights against Bowser, probably the best Bowser fights in the Mario series, if I'm being honest. Because
Yeah,
because
I
you
have
actually
heard nothing but
yeah
incredible things about Bowser's Fury.
yeah it's good.
And the Bowser fights are a leading reason why.
Yeah,
It's also like it's a small but like open world.
it is. Well, see, people call it open world. It is open world in the fact that you can go anywhere you want in this little area, but it's still the islands still feel very self-contained.
Separate.
Yeah, like there's nothing really thematically tying them together. And then you have like the water dinosaur lot, that like the Nessie thing that you can use to kind of cruise around a little bit easier. You can beat the game by getting 50 cat shines. There are 100 to collect all told. I've put in probably, I want to say between 5 and 6 hours, and I'm up to like 68 of the cat shines right now. So like you can easily 100% this in 8 to 10 hours. But it's not bad. Like I said, especially for a free bit of software that came with a great game in Mario 3D World. This is a fantastic addition, and I do hope that they take some of the things, especially the Bowser combat, and kind of incorporate that into future Mario games that we see down the road. But it's really good, and if you own 3D World, have not played this yet, I would definitely encourage you to give it a shot, and don't be like me and wait a year and a half to check out this thing that you've had sitting on your Switch for a very long time. So we go to the post office. I'm going to surprise Carrie by handing off question reading duties to her because I've talked enough.
Cool. I'm trying to think when our last episode was.
You know what? I feel like we just have to kind of stick with where we're at this week, and then we'll go from there. So
because I do want to at least bring up M Rogers' question, which is came in last week when we were off. Because the whole Rooster Teeth situation, I do think is worth touching on really quick, in which he just asked, is it time to just burn Rooster Teeth to the ground? I mean, faster than they are already doing it themselves. So this was another sort of story that came out over the last couple of weeks, where multiple former Rooster Teeth employees have come forward with allegations of mismanagement, crunch, pay disparity. One in particular started this whole thing, a trans woman who basically said that she had been called slurs and whatnot during the process of her transitioning, and had not been paid for work, and was not given appropriate time off to recover from a bout of pneumonia that literally sent her to the hospital, and all this other good stuff. But yeah, Rooster Teeth, which is known, I guess, for Red versus Blue and Ruby and not much else, basically just came out and said, sorry about the slurs. Did not discuss pay disparity, did not discuss crunch culture, none of that shit. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we as a society have moved past the need for Rooster Teeth. We have things like YouTube and Twitch now, and we don't really need these fucking mediocre web series making jokes that were last funny in 2006.
How about if you have a small like company anywhere in the gaming space, that you try to make sure that your small company is not run by a gaggle of white men. And I feel like if you can prevent your company from being run by a gaggle of white men, and exclusively a gaggle of white men, then you could probably avoid a lot of the pitfalls that seem to be affecting a lot of these companies out here. Because I feel like that we're letting the white men just run amok unchecked, as history has for thousands of years, and we've all seen what happens when you do that. So.
Yep.
Here's how out of the loop I am with Rooster Teeth. The last bit of Rooster Teeth media that I consumed was Red versus Blue. I don't know how long ago it was, but again, I feel like I feel like Terrence, right? I feel like I've always been old. Mm-hmm. And some of this humor just doesn't really do it for me.
Well, like Carrie said, they were like Rooster Teeth in many ways was kind of like the precursor to what Twitch now does. Like they brought together a lot of independent creators and had this video streaming service. Well, now you can just do it yourself. Like you don't need
Yeah.
a Rooster Teeth to do it for you. So
Yeah. We do not need Rooster Teeth. If Rooster Teeth implodes, nothing of value will be lost at this point. T-Wash asks, what have video games taught you that you used in life?
God of War 2018 taught me how to be a father. That's not true at all. Kratos is a terrible father.
the Uncharted series has taught me that as long as you are treasure hunting for a noble cause, you can murder as many pirates as you want to with no consequences.
They even have a trophy about it. Like it's like a ludonarrative dissonance trophy. It's like you just go on a fucking killing spree, but as long as you're stealing things, as long as you're a white dude from America or British, or you're British, and you're going into another country and stealing their artifacts, you can kill as many people as you need to.
Yeah.
Fucking hysterical.
I don't think video games have taught me fucking dick. Like
Video games have taught me to not let exclusively a gaggle of white men operate your gaming company.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. I think that it was a few years ago. There was like an actual scientific study that came out that showed that people my age who grew up playing Pokemon and spent a lot of time in their adolescence playing Pokemon have differently wired brains than other people due to the memorizing of 150 plus different creatures and their types and what they're strong and weak against. And it means that our brains have a tendency to categorize information differently. So Pokemon made me a genius, and that's why I'm better than you. That's what I'll take from that. Brendan VM asks, are we still buying Bayonetta? Dude, fucking who
Go
cares?
for it. Absolutely.
Go for it.
With gusto, I would even tell you to go buy Bayonetta 3. So
Yeah. Johnny asks, there are so many potentially good survival horror games, Resident Evil 4, Silent Hill 2, Callisto Protocol, and more coming out. Besides Terrence, are any of y'all going to give them a shot? No.
You got the wrong panel for this question. Micah will probably buy one of them out of morbid curiosity and then be too scared.
I ain't playing that shit.
I'll give Resident Evil 4 out of curiosity. I'm staying away from Silent Hill. I don't like that. Silent Hill is spooky, and I don't like ghost shit. I can deal with gore. I can deal with chainsaw men with potato sacks on their head, slicing you up and all that. Gore is fine. I love horror movies that have like a bunch of just like bloody nonsense, but I draw the line when it comes to ghosts. Okay. I barely can accept the Holy Ghost. I am not going to accept little devil girls coming out of TVs.
Didn't you play Ghostwire Tokyo, even though Ghostwire Tokyo is decidedly not scary?
Ghostwire Tokyo is so fucking boring, yo. It's so boring. Like I was like, all right, this looks like an easy platinum. It's only $35. Let me check it out, right? It's not scary and it's super boring. Oh my god! Like, stay away. It's like don't let the game. And it's always on sale. That's not a good sign. Always on sale. Don't be stupid like me and just don't waste your time with Ghostwire Tokyo.
As far as Silent Hill is concerned, Silent Hill 2 remake I think is an interesting idea. I think the team that they got to do it, which is Bloober Team, not the best choice. Bloober Team seems like a bunch of people based on their existing work that like played Silent Hill, likes the aesthetic of Silent Hill, did not understand the message underlying Silent Hill.
Honestly, like if Konami was smart, they would have been like, hey, Capcom, please let the people who've been remaking the Resident Evil games remake Silent Hill 2.
Here's what I will say about Silent Hill, though. Everyone was all wrapped up in the Silent Hill 2 remake news. Understandable. Silent Hill 2, I think, for a lot of people, is the best one. I am very curious about Silent Hill F because they got this guy, Ryukishi07, to write the game. Ryukishi07 is one of my all-time favorite game writers. He's the person responsible for the entire When They Cry visual novel series. So Higurashi, Umineko, Sekonya, all of those, which I love. I fucking love Higurashi and Umineko to death. Those are like the closest thing that I get to like horror games, and they're really just books, and they're really more like mystery kind of shit than horror. Though there's a lot of death and a lot of gore that happens in both. So for them to pick him of all people and to give him the fucking keys to Silent Hill and be like, do whatever you want, sign me the fuck up. I am way more interested in playing a Silent Hill written by Ryukishi07 than I am in any other Silent Hill entry to date. So am I going to play it? Still, probably no. I'm going to watch someone else play it because horror games stress me out and I can't deal with it.
I will say,
I'm not doing it.
I will say, this might surprise you. I was actually really stoked about all the Silent Hill announcements when I saw them. And that's because it is a signal that apparently Konami is making video games again, which means that maybe one day we'll get something new in the Castlevania franchise. And then we can all truly celebrate
oh man,
a happy day.
What a day that would be. Cam asked how much money you spent on Marvel Snap. None. Zero. Not a goose egg.
Yep.
We'll check back with them next week with an update.
I will. Like I said, I might kick. I probably will at least kick them the $3 for the welcome pack because I feel like they've earned my $3 so far. And then, like I said, if the season pass is worth it at the end of the season, then I might buy the season pass. We'll see.
And finally,
before you get the last question, Micah, did you know that apparently in Marvel Snap they have an Uncle Ben card as well that you can play? Do you know what Uncle Ben's ability is?
Does it like take one power away from you?
No. If Uncle Ben gets destroyed, a copy of Spider-Man gets added to your hand.
That's fucking amazing. I it's little stuff like that I appreciate, right?
Yeah.
Like you're right. Like all that stuff like just makes sense. That's hysterical. Oh shit.
Anthony asks if is Gotham Knights being 30 frames per second a deal breaker? No, I think the game coming out and being spectacularly mediocre makes it a deal breaker for most people.
Yeah, you know what makes Gotham Knights a deal breaker? Gotham Knights is a deal breaker because it was a game that they designed to be like an open, like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a
live service.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, they designed it to be a live service game, and then they saw that Marvel Avengers shit the bed, and then so they
shit the bed.
Yeah, so they revamped the game to not be a live service game, but you can absolutely tell from a lot of the stuff that's in the game that it absolutely at one point in its design iteration was set up to be a live service game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game never looked good to me. Like it never looked good to me, and I'm a mark for this like comic book nonsense, and it just looked bad. Like I never understood why it was getting the press it was getting. It never looked good to me, and you know me.
Yeah, I always thought it looked
bad game. Like I'll buy a bad game, like no problem. Like it just looked like it looks boring. It looks. I bought Saints Row for fuck's sakes. Now I knew what I was getting with Saints Row. Right, I knew what I was getting with Saints Row. With this, it just Gotham Knights just looked real fucking boring.
When Gotham Knights is $20 in 4 months, are you going to take a chance on it for $20?
4 months. That's bold.
If it's $20, yeah, 4 months seems. I mean, like Christmas is right around the corner, Brad.
It'll go down to 30 for Christmas. It'll be 40 come next February.
If it's $20, yeah, I'll buy it for $20. Like I said, I'll buy a bad game. If there's nothing, February? No, because Street Fighter is probably good. Oh, no, I won't be buying it. If it doesn't hit $25 If it doesn't hit $25, if it doesn't hit $25 or $30 by Christmas, there's no way I'm ever playing that game.
Interesting. So, very good.
That's it.
Cool.
Thanks, Post Office.
Yeah. Don't forget, densepixels.com/fans to join the Discord so that you can also ask us any questions, video game related or not video game related. You can ask us whatever you want. Make sure you subscribe to the show if you're listening in podcast form. If for some reason you haven't subscribed, that'd be insane to me. But do it wherever you get podcasts. Also subscribe to the other TNP Studio shows like the Nerdpocalypse and Black on Black Cinema and Look Forward and Coming Distractions. Also go to youtube.com/densepixels. Subscribe to us there as well. Just subscribe everywhere.
Across the board.
Anywhere that we are, hit the subscribe button. Like Twitch. You can go to twitch.tv/densepixels and subscribe there. And you can also follow our personal accounts. I'm DensePixels Brad. Carrie is Sup, it's Carrie. Terrence is Apparition 410. There are so many fucking subscribe buttons out there that you can click that are associated with us. And if you're not doing it, I mean, really, why not? Why not?
What the fuck?
What are you doing? So, that's it for this week. I promise not another 3-week hiatus between this show and the next one. But
Fingers
yeah.
crossed.
I guarantee it. Even if I have to, even if I have to like record a solo, like a fireside chat episode with myself, I will make sure that we do one. No problem. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys very much for watching and listening. See y'all the next time.
See ya.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.